Tell me of your deeds, adventurer.
Alright folks, welcome back to Hapes O Games, and today I'm covering Silver for the Dreamcast, one of my most favourite action RPGs of my childhood. I actually haven't played this game since 1999, but what I intend on doing in this mini review is to come at it from not a nostalgic point, but what would it feel like to play this game in 2021. So to put some extra context to this, I owned the original PC big box version, so my revisit is also with the console version. And I wasn't aware there was a console version until I've recently invested in the Dreamcast, and I researched it and found that this game was on it.
If you're here to see the Duke, you're too late. He and the rest of the men have already left for chains, but they'll send word if they need help.
Okay, thanks.
So let's start with graphics and audio first, and just previous to that clip I just wanted to show some of the voice acting here in this game, and the voice acting and storytelling is excellent. So to keep this spoiler free as possible, so the story focuses around a young warrior called David, and it's basically a quest about how he's going to retrieve his wife from the clutches of an evil villain called Silver. And basically David meets a bunch of rebels along the way, and they form a team to go after Silver and save everybody. So to speak specifically on the graphics, it uses pre-rendered backgrounds, something similar like 2.5D that you would see with Resident Evil or Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or something like that. But what I gotta say is this game is aged like a fine wine. The pre-rendered backgrounds are absolutely beautiful even to this day, and they're actually of a very high resolution. I'm not sure what resolution these were taken at the time, but the texture work here still holds up, and the polygons are actually pretty impressive, and the character models are still quite decent. Now the camera zooms in and out so you can get closer to them and further away from them depending on the camera angles, but overall from a presentation perspective it has held up so well, and it looks stunning on the Dreamcast actually. I gotta also make a mention to the soundtrack, an absolutely incredible soundtrack in this game. Each area has its own distinct feel and soundtrack as well, which is really cool. And it also has this dynamic feel to it when you get into combat, and especially boss fights and stuff like that. So let's get into the gameplay and controls. So as I said, this is an action RPG, but a real-time action RPG. But it does have a radial system. So basically you press the B button on the Dreamcast and it brings up a menu. And that menu is radial based, so you move the analog around. And basically you can carry out moves, you can switch weapons, you can pick your magic, you can use items, and you can also switch between characters. So you don't necessarily have to control David, you can control any of the other party members. And again, as you move along in the game, you add more party members as the story unfolds. So there's also a map system. So basically you can travel from area to area once you've been there once. It has quite a linear path, but it doesn't. So you can explore all areas individually. But in order to progress the story, there's a very specific linear path to that. But I'm okay with that, and I enjoy it. And it doesn't prevent you from not visiting other areas again, because there's secrets that you can unlock based on equipment that you gain at the further you get into that game. So as you can see here from the gameplay, I'm switching between my sword, my shield and my magic. It's very seamless, as I said, with the controller, because remember I played this game with a mouse and keyboard before, but it's integrated very well on the Dreamcast controller. So left trigger, you need to hold that down in order to aim. The right trigger is used to swing the sword, and then depending on which way you pull the analog, the sword moves and it does specific moves. So the combat is skill based specifically, and it does have dodge mechanics and block mechanics for your shields, etc. So again, real-time action, but there is some skill involved here in the combat. So it's not a matter of just hammering the A button over and over. So on the top left of the screen you can see the health bars of all your heroes, you can see their magic bars, and you can also see their special attack abilities. So there's special attacks you can pick up in the game, and you can also acquire those to your heroes. To execute that you need to hold down the A button as you swing the attack, and you hold that down and it pulls off a special move, and then you gotta wait a set time limit in order to use that move again. Maybe think of them something similar to like limit breaks in Final Fantasy 7 or something like that. So in order to heal your party, then you can give them food, so you can pick up food in the world and all the chests, and you can also pick them up via health potions and health vials. Or when you beat a boss, it recharges your health because you level up. So there is a leveling up system in this, but it's simply controlled by whatever boss fight you fight. So in order to save your game then, there's a chronicler scattered across the world, and he shows up from time to time, normally before boss fights or large scale battles, but he shows up frequently enough, and it's not overdone either. So lastly in this segment I just picked out a single boss, probably somewhere around the middle of the game. Again, try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but basically there's always a little puzzle to beating one of the bosses. No one boss is the same in this. And in this case here, you have to actually go underneath the dragon in order to do damage to him. You can't do damage to him from the front, so it had taken me a while to suss that out. But yeah, as I said, you need to think, especially when fighting the bosses. But guys, overall, just to break down Silver and my thoughts on it, absolutely timeless game. It's held up so well, and this game doesn't get a lot of love at all. So if you can give it some time and give it a chance, it's really worth your time.
It's evident that Silver now knows that we're searching for the orbs.
Guys, if you like this review, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.